Many have spoken about the fact that this year Hanukkah begins on the same day as the American holiday of Thanksgiving. And the truth is there's a lot of similarity in the sense that Hanukkah is also a Yom Tov that's about Thanksgiving, that's about Hoda'ah. The Gemara in Shabbat tells us, quoting Megillat Ta'anit, that the Yom Tov of Hanukkah was set up as days of Hallel and Hoda'ah. Now, of course, all Yom Tovim are days when we express Hallel. The uniqueness of Hanukkah lies in this added element of Hoda'ah. The truth is we find many sources which connect Hoda'ah to the story of Hanukkah. For example, the Mishnah in Midot tells us that there were 13 apertures, holes that were made in the fence of the Har HaBayit that separated how far non-Jews could go versus how far Jews could continue going. And the Greeks made 13 holes in this fence to show that this separation line was not real. The Rambam in his Pirush on that Mishnah in Masechet Midot writes that Chazal, when they took back the Mikdash, the Mishnah tells us that they instituted bowing down at each of those holes. The Rambam writes that they instituted bowing down together with Hoda'ah. So Hoda'ah was the antidote to the things that the Greeks had done in the Beit Mikdash. Now, of course, we know that Hoda'ah is expressed also when we light the Nerot Chanukah. We say this in the prayer of Hanerot Halalu. We say that we light the candles Kidei Lahodot Ulahalel. And here we put the word Hoda'ah first, before Halal, because it's a basic part of the message we're trying to internalize and express. Of course, Hoda'ah is a basic part of every day for a Jewish person. It's the tefillah we begin our morning with, and the tefillah we end Shacharit with. First words a Jew is supposed to utter when he first wakes up, Modeh ani lifanecha. And of course we say in Aleinu, Ve'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim. We also there, and we reinforce it through the bowing. And in fact, this seems to be the contrast with the other nations, not only who they worship, but how they worship. Shehem korim u'mishtachavim, shehem korim u'mishtachavim, shehem mishtachavim lehevel v'rik, shehem mishtachavim lehevel v'rik, u'mitpalalim el Elo Yoshia, va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim. We don't only prostrate ourselves, but like the Rambam says in Midot, we connect Hoda'ah to it as well. And in fact, in the middle of our tefillah in Shmona Esrei, when we say Modim anachnu lach, we connect that also with Hishtachavo. Very interesting Gemara in Baba Kama, which says that a person who doesn't bow down when he says Modim, after he dies, his spinal column turns into a snake. It causes you to wonder what this is all about. So on the one hand, Chanukah has this theme of Hoda'ah to it. On the other hand, I believe that on Chanukah, it's part of something much more basic and profound to our religious identity. We're told that the Yevanim had the Jews write on the horn of an ox, Ein lanu chelek be'elokei Yisrael, that we do not have a portion in the God of Israel. Very strange thing to demand that they write. And I think the idea behind it is that the Yevanim believed in humans, in humanity. They believed in the beauty, the supremacy, and the importance of humanity. They glorified human beings as the center of the universe, not only figuratively, but literally, in the sense that they believed that the world revolved around Earth, the homocentric view of the universe. They were the ones who developed the study of humanities. They glorified the human body, the nude, pure, non-Brit Mila form of it. They believed in gods, but their gods were human. They saw God through the prism of man's experience. They were fine with believing in God. They just didn't believe that there could be a nation that would have a special relationship. And this is why we say in Al Nisim that their goal was not lahashkicham Torah, but lahashkicham Torah techa. And not just laha'aviram mi mitzvot or chukim, but laha'aviram mi chukei ritzonecha. The Greeks did not have a problem with Jewish culture. They had a problem with Jews following things blindly, only because these things were the will of God. And of course the Chashmonim, their rallying cry was, Mil Hashem Elai. We do feel that we have this special relationship with God. And that relationship will be why we will be victorious, and they were. But the victory wasn't just a national uprising. It's about religious identity. It's a struggle between Jews who believe in this special relationship and assimilated Jews who want to be part of some broader generic culture. And this is why the central part of Hanukkah was Hodah, appreciation of God, the recognition of God in our lives. The fact that there is a fence where only Jews can go beyond, because Jews do have this special relationship. And when that fence is, when breaches are made, we bow down there in recognition. And we show this recognition of God through our prayers and Hodah. And this is why, in the morning, the very first thing we're supposed to say is Moda Ani Lefanecha. The word Hodah, the word Moda, means not only to thank, it means to recognize, to admit. Moda b'miktzat. And the truth is that a real thank you has to be rooted in a recognition of dependency on another. We only appreciate when we really did need the other. When a person wakes up in the morning and realizes that they were totally out of it, they were somewhat dead for the night of sleep. And as their computer reboots and they refine themselves and remember who they are and what day of the week it is, they're supposed to capitalize on that moment by saying, Moda ani lefanecha. I admit, she'echazarta bi nishmati. And that's why the tefillah of Modim has the word Hodah twice. Modim anachnu lecha, and then later, for all this nodeh lecha. First, we admit our dependency. Sha'atahu Hashem Elokeinu, the core of our lives, our life spirit. And then we thank God for reviving us, for sustaining us. A person who can't really bow down when they say Modim, their spinal column that allows them to stand up straight turns into the snake, who was the first to suggest to man that he did not need his dependency on God. Hanukkah is a time to reaffirm that sense, that recognition of dependency that is unique to the Jewish people. Sheheim mishtachavim, they may prostrate themselves, but anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim. Our prostration isn't just some form of worship. It's an expression of a recognition of dependency on Hashem. And I think this is what we're saying in the tefillah of Hanerot Halalu. It's also to benefit from the Chanukah Nerot. You can get pleasure, but you can't seek to use them. Ein lanu reshut lehishtamesh bahem, to make us the focus of their light. Ela lirotam bilvad, to see them, to use them to reflect, to appreciate. Kidei lirotam bilvad, kidei lahodot ulahalel l'shimcha hagadol. Chanukah should be a time, not just where we give thanks, but where we recognize, where we admit, where we see our dependency, and that is the root of our true Chanukah thanksgiving. Chanukah Sameach.